Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for taking the time to join us today. My name is Priscilla, and I'm on the marketing team here at Samsara. We have a special training as part of our Samsara Quarterly series, where we update you on Samsara's product releases and how to use them. That's why you're all here today. We're really excited about all the new stuff. We know that there's always a lot going on in your dashboard, and we've heard feedback that it's hard to keep up with all the new features and changes. So what you can expect from each Samsara Quarterly is a look back on the past couple months. Think of it as a live webinar highlight reel of the What's New page in your dashboard. You can always get new feature information there as releases come out, but we want to have a dedicated space every quarter where you can come and hear directly from experts and also have the chance to ask some questions. So if this is your first quarterly, we're really glad that you're here. I will note that we are going to go through a lot of material today, and it's targeted at more established customers. So if you're newer to Samsara and you're still getting your feet wet, don't worry. Some of the stuff might not make that much sense at first, but it'll all come together as you grow in your Samsara knowledge. Lastly, I just want to put it out there, this is a roadmap-free zone. We're focused on releases that have already come out, and we're happy to answer questions related to those. This is just not the place to talk about our future product roadmap. So if you have specific questions or feature requests, please submit those in your Samsara dashboard under the feedback button. All right, I want to make sure to introduce our panel of experts and help you put voices and names to faces. So today we have Kaitna, Hugh, and Sherry on the line, who are all on our product marketing team. And of course, I've been talking for the past few minutes. Hello again, I'm Priscilla. Our training today will focus on updates from a couple big areas: safety, driver efficiency, and the driver app. And I'm throwing in a bonus here for you. We're going to talk about some integrations that are also available to you. And as always, we'll have a couple announcements and a live Q&A with Kaitna, Hugh, and Sherry at the very end. After the training, you'll get a recording of the session in a follow-up email. I'll also send out these slides so you have them. They'll have links to different resources so you can peruse those on your own time. We also have our stellar support team on the line ready to answer your questions. So you should see a Q&A box on your computer, just like what you're seeing on the screen here. If you have a question, please type it in and hit send. I know some of you guys have been kind of chatting with us a little bit already. The team will answer everything that they can, and we'll follow up on anything we're unable to get to or help out with live during the webinar. We have 5 people on the line today helping answer your questions: Beth, Mo, Kristen, Christy, and Justin. They will be taking care of you today. All right, so to kick us off, Samsara has a mission of improving the efficiency, safety, and sustainability of the operations that power our economy. For the past few years, we've been focused on driving innovation in the areas of real-time data, artificial intelligence, and open APIs. We have a large team dedicated to research and development and, of course, customer support. Our teams read every feedback submission that we get from you, so keep sending in those suggestions to inspire our new features. Today, we've grown to serve over 15,000 organizations worldwide across a variety of industries in both the public and private sectors. And we truly believe that this is a partnership. So on behalf of the Samsara team, I want to thank you for choosing Samsara and trusting us with your business. And as you know, feedback is super valuable to us. And since we're talking about partnership, I kind of want to understand what you guys think about that. So I'm going to quickly put a poll up. And the question is, what's most important to you in a long-term technology partner? You should see that pop up on your screen. I'm seeing some responses come in. Take a look, pick the option that most resonates with you, and I'll give you guys a little more time to make your selection. Awesome. Thanks so much for sharing. Without further ado, I'll hand it over to Kaitna to kick it off with our safety update.
Thanks, Priscilla. My name is Kaitna, and I'm a product marketing manager on our cameras and safety team. Today, I'm really excited to walk through some new capabilities that really help to proactively improve driver safety by detecting high-risk behaviors and alerting drivers to really adjust their behavior before an accident occurs. Then I'll go ahead and I'll share some great updates to the way that you're able to measure your fleet safety with new reporting and some scoring features as well. So we've made great accuracy improvements and strides since our beta launch earlier this year. And we're really excited to share that distracted driving detection and tailgating detection are fully available now as we continue to focus on improving the accuracy of forward collision warnings, which remains in beta. So these three powerful AI features really build in preventive and proactive safety, and they appear as new event types as footage in your safety inbox and as in-cab alerts if you choose to turn them on. So advanced incident detection like this was historically reserved for only the newest vehicle models with fancy built-in ADAS systems, but we're really able to bring these features to our customers with mixed fleets and older vehicles, which we are really excited about. So distracted driving is a leading indicator of risky driving behavior, so it's critical to reduce these events across your fleet. Our new distracted driving detection really helps prevent unsafe driving behaviors by triggering an in-cab alert so the driver can adjust their behavior in real time. So if we take a look at this example, the dash cam is able to recognize when the driver becomes distracted, and you can see that the box around his face turns from green to red when this happens. This box shows how the AI is analyzing the driver's head pose, and the change in color signals that it detected that the gaze was not focused on the road ahead. This detection also means that the feature will pick up a wide range of activities. Drivers' heads often are bent down when looking at a cell phone, eating, focusing too much on the radio, and other cases of distraction. And in this particular example, I just wanted to point out that the driver was not notified with an in-cab alert because this customer chose not to enable them. But we can easily see when it would have triggered by the change of the box color if they were turned on. The second AI feature that I'm really excited to talk about is tailgating. So in our research, we've found some interesting data reported by the NHTSA, where they estimate that roughly 30% of all crashes that occur on the road are rear-end collisions. In-cab warnings have been found to help reduce these incidents by as much as 25%. So we're really excited to announce that Samsara can now alert drivers when they are following another vehicle too closely for an extended period of time at high speeds. Like our other AI features, tailgating can't be detected by traditional systems that rely on G-force to detect harsh events, because if you think about it, nothing harsh actually occurs. So let's take a look at what this looks like inside of the dashboard. And I really hope you guys are able to hear the in-cab alert, but so as you heard, our AI detected a vehicle ahead, where you can see that with the red box, and calculated the time to collision. I'm going to play that again. So when the algorithm recognizes that the vehicle is following too closely, the in-cab alert triggers and reminds the driver to increase his following distance. And by default, the camera detects cases of 1 second or less of following distances at speeds over 45 miles an hour if they're driving at that duration for around 30 seconds, but that can be customized. So these events can be marked as needs coaching so that you can also coach your drivers on these events too. And our final AI feature we're highlighting today is the ability to alert drivers when they are nearing a rear-end collision. By analyzing the distance of vehicles ahead and speed data, your dash cams can detect near forward collisions and send proactive in-cab audio alerts to drivers when they are nearing a rear-end crash. So let's take a look at this 10-second video of an instance where a camera detects an imminent forward collision warning. So here you can see that as the vehicle gets closer to the vehicle ahead, the box is going to turn yellow and then red, warning of an impending collision. So because the in-cab audio alerts were enabled, if you guys weren't able to hear, it sounded 3 alerts. And the camera really just notified the driver to slow down or take action immediately to prevent the accident. And I really just wanted to call out that from this example, that forward collision warning is different from tailgating in that this driver was quickly approaching the vehicle in front of them. And in the previous example, it was based on the fact that they simply were not leaving enough space. And at the end of the day, these in-cab alerts are really designed to help decrease the risk of accidents in real time. And since the footage is automatically sent to your Samsara dashboard, you can easily mark them for coaching in the safety inbox, which helps ensure that your team is also able to give one-to-one feedback to your drivers during coaching. So we've now talked through our new AI capabilities to help coach your drivers in real time on the road. But now let's talk about how data from these events are pulled further into Samsara for reporting. Reports in Samsara take real driving data and turn it into actionable insights for you to identify areas of improvement and see where you can reward your drivers. Samsara's new configurable safety scores allow you to align your fleet safety priorities with how you measure your fleet and incentivize drivers. Starting with events and behaviors that we pull from our automated sensors, we load safety events such as harsh brakes, speeding patterns, and even automatically detected accidents. We then combine this information with your defined settings where you can select what events and behaviors are most important to your organization, really giving you that customization and control. And this information is bubbled up into an individual driver or vehicle score, which all roll up into a fleet level score, all found on the safety report to give you a holistic view of your fleet safety. And these scores take into account over 25 different automatically detected events, other events that you can manually add, and time over the speed limit. Each of these categories can now be weighted between 1 and 10, with 10 being the maximum penalty to a score to really ensure that you're giving weight to your specific safety policies and priorities. And as I mentioned, you can find these scores on our safety report, which we've now enhanced to surface insights for you to know how safely your drivers and fleets are performing. In the Fleet Trends panel, you're now able to see a 2-month look back at incident rates, counts, and new speeding and AI behaviors, which is the number of AI detected events that took place. Speeding is now split into the number of minutes spent in light, moderate, heavy, or severe speeding, along with the percent of total drive time spent above the speed limit. You're also able to view this information in our new speeding summary, which is located right underneath the Fleet Trends panel. So you can easily understand how severely your fleet is speeding and measure progress. You're also now able to understand how often other risk factors, such as harsh braking, occurs by using the new event label summary. These include automatically detected events such as harsh turns or rolling stops, as well as labels you can manually add like smoking. Drill down to see which drivers or vehicles are associated with each infraction and their frequency. And this really allows you to see your most common high-risk behaviors in drivers at a quick glance to see where you should prioritize coaching or safety improvements. Aligning safety scores and reporting with company policies has allowed our partners like Simco Logistics to see a 75% decrease in harsh events and a 50% reduction in accidents. So we're really excited for you all to begin using these new features. And if you'd like to turn on any of these new features that we've discussed today, head to Settings and then Safety. In order to configure scores, select the safety score and turn on the toggle next to Safety Score Configuration to start customizing your scores. To turn on AI features, just select Event Detection and turn on the toggle next to AI Event Detection. After configuring lane positions, you can customize the speed threshold and the duration of what defines an unsafe following distance, and even have the option to turn on in-cab alerts for any of the AI events that we discussed today. Our new features really help our customers across these 3 simple pillars. Now, fleets will be able to act even more effectively in real time through distracted driving detection, tailgating detection, and forward collision warnings. We know that so many driver risks are preventable, so helping our customers proactively address these behaviors before they turn into a risk through preventative in-cab alerts is impactful. And because these behaviors are detected by our embedded artificial intelligence, safety managers also get visibility as event footage is auto-uploaded to the cloud. We know that no two safety programs are the same. So now we give safety managers the ability to configure more than 25 different event types using the brand new configurable safety score so that you can tailor your safety scores to your fleet's unique safety priorities and ensure consistency and accountability. And lastly, we're making it easier to measure the impact of your safety program by enhancing our safety report so that it now incorporates far more granular speeding data. Our new AI detected events and an overview of your most repeated high-risk behaviors, helping you identify ways to adjust and refine your program as you go. So that wraps it up for our safety updates. And just wanted to give a quick reminder to type your questions in the Q&A box so you can get them answered immediately. And now, to talk more about ways in which we're helping your fleet run more efficiently, I'll pass it off to Hugh. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Kaitna. And hey, everyone. My name is Hugh, and I work on our product marketing team for our telematics group. And it's just really exciting to see all the progress that we've made on the safety side and what Kaitna just covered. I'm sure, as many of you know, a core part of our safety offering here at Samsara is the safety score. And as we've seen the safety score become really popular with customers, we've been working on the telematics team about how we can take a similar approach to implement a scoring system to help our customers really with a different challenge. And that challenge is like getting better visibility into inefficient or costly driving habits across your fleet. And today I want to just share a bit more about how we've actually done that with some of the new features that we've released in the past few weeks and over the past quarter to help you improve driver efficiency. And specifically, we're taking an eye here on how driver behavior actually affects fuel consumption. So let's start with our new driver efficiency report. So we launched this report recently, and what it does is help you as a fleet manager get better visibility into what's considered to be costly driver behavior. So you can actually, similar to the safety score, assign each of your drivers an efficiency score. And this is based on a number of different driving factors. So this enables you to monitor any inefficient driving habits across your fleet. It can help you then coach your team to drive more efficiently. And the goal with this ultimately is to help you reduce fuel costs and to extend the life of your vehicles. And from what we've heard from you, this is something that hits on a big challenge. We know that if you think of your operating costs, fuel takes 30, even up to 40% of your total operating costs for a fleet. And drivers play a really big part in that as well, and just in terms of the performance and the fuel consumption of the vehicles they drive. But from what we've heard from many of you guys and our customers is that it can be really challenging to actually understand which of these driving behaviors are costing your organization more, whether it's in fuel or in emissions or in maintenance. And this also is just going to continue to affect and go downstream and affect the lifetime value of your assets as well. And so you can see here in the screenshot on the right, really what makes up the core parts of the driver efficiency report. So each driver individually gets the driver efficiency score, which you can see on the left there, for their driving habits. And these scores also roll up to an overall company-wide score. So if you want to track driver efficiency at a high level, this is now what that enables you to do. And if you're curious between regional teams or departments to actually see where high inefficient driving is and where your top performers may be, you can actually track that on a more granular level as well. And then you can see which departments or regions are outperforming or where you might need to make coaching improvements. And I want to just do a deeper dive into the inputs for this report and kind of what makes up driver efficiency and how we think about it here at Samsara. So the report takes basically a total of 7 metrics into account to be able to provide you the insights that you need to understand fleet-wide efficiency and driver behavior. So those metrics are driver idling, which is obviously one of the main ones and the most consistent theme that we hear, along with the time spent over a speed threshold that you can set, along with the time that your drivers spend on cruise control or coasting, along with any high torque or harsh braking events. And then lastly, time spent in the green band, which is the most efficient RPM range. And so really these are the 7 metrics that go into this report and to these scores. And from what we found is that being able to actually quantify these metrics and to bring them into a single report gives you the visibility that you need to decrease spend on fuel and vehicle maintenance in the long run. So we weighted these metrics based on customer input, but we also know that really no two fleets are the same. And I'm sure many of you would measure and consider efficiency differently depending on the unique needs of your fleet. So we found it to be really important for you to be able to customize your driver efficiency score as well and just to be able to put more weight on the metrics that matter most to your business. So you can see here in the fuel and energy settings that you can actually fully adjust both the thresholds for what you want to actually measure and cover, along with the weight for each of these score that you want to give to each one. So what this does is it just gives you a further ability to customize and give your organization its own really unique driver efficiency score depending on how you define and consider driver efficiency. So we're really excited about that report, and hopefully it's going to be able to drive a lot of measurable improvements for your team and your efficiency efforts. And I want to switch gears a bit into a similar report that we launched recently, which is Fuel and Energy Report. So you can see an example of it here on the right side. And what we're doing here is that in addition to your drivers and beyond driver behavior, we know that it doesn't really stop there when it comes to monitoring efficiency and trying to move the needle on it. You're also just trying to get more detail and evaluate your vehicles and your equipment as well. And that's really what our goal was with this report, is to help build and consolidate a really effective fuel and energy report for you to be able to track your entire fleet in one place. And from what we've heard from a lot of our customers is that you have a mixed fleet. You have fuel vehicles, fuel-based vehicles, along with hybrid or EVs as well, which are increasingly popular. And so a lot of our customers now are looking to analyze and compare both fuel and energy usage in one place in order to help them just get a more broader and holistic view of their entire fleet to be able to reduce costs and reduce carbon emissions as well. And that's really what this fuel and energy report set out to help you with, is to just give you this unified view of what vehicles in your fleet are most efficient and which ones are least efficient, really regardless of what type of vehicles you have. So you can see the report at a glance here, and I'll just cover a bit more about each column and what we're covering here. First, you'll see that there's a single calculation of efficiency by measuring your mile per gallon, and that's across all vehicles in your fleet. And there's also columns for fuel and energy usage and distance traveled, and you can actually customize that depending on a time period that you're most interested in. So you can run the report by the day, by the week, or by the month, and this just gives you the ability to, if you want to get a broad view of your fleet and fuel and energy usage over time, you can do that. Or if you want to zero in on a specific day, maybe there's something that happened that day that you want to see what happened or how much fuel was used, you can also do that as well. And from what we've heard, it's really important to be able to track power takeoff as well. It just helps you get better visibility into true or necessary idling and compare that to unnecessary idling. So there's now also a PTO column here, and so you can actually see and track power takeoff in more detail. And all of these really focus for these metrics is on cost. So there's also now a new estimated cost column where you can see how much your vehicles may be costing you with fuel burn, or for your EVs, you can also see and track your energy cost there as well. So this just enables you to get more detailed and granular visibility into all of these costs, so then you can actually start to move the needle on them. And that's the fuel and energy report. And I think between that and the driver efficiency report really helps you get a lot more detail. And I just want to share now about some of the impact that this has actually had on our customers. So here's a quick story about a customer of ours, Dorn Transport. They're one of our transportation and logistics customers. And they actually used a lot of this data to set up an idling coaching program. So for what their goal was really, they wanted to keep every instance of driver idling below 7 minutes. That was the target that they set out to reach. And how they actually enforced this was they set up idling alerts for their fleet managers to get alerted any time that a vehicle was idling longer than 7 minutes. And then whenever that happened, they reached out to those drivers individually and coached them on this. And that actually helped them avoid idling and repeated instances of this in the future. And this is a pretty simple activity, right? Of just that feedback loop of getting the alert, coaching drivers, improving their behavior, but it really drove pretty meaningful results for them. As you can see, they actually were able to drive a 2% increase in fuel efficiency, which equated to about 150,000 gallons of fuel saved every year. And that's over 500,000 in savings every year, just from making these really small incremental changes. But it actually really added up to have a big and tangible impact on their department and on their bottom line overall. And that was what Dorn did, and this is also really something that you can do too. I mean, now that you have a lot more access to this granular data with some of the reports that I've covered here, you can take a few steps now to actually help build this coaching program for you and your team as well, and to help combat and reduce driver idling. And just some recommendations from us. I think it's best to start by getting visibility and monitoring these idling trends across your fleet, seeing where the biggest areas for improvement are, what maybe departments or regions may need the most coaching, and then actually using the fuel and energy report to monitor those idling trends, and then use the driver efficiency report to then get a lot more detailed insight into which drivers may need the most coaching. And then you want to identify what changes you want to make to decrease idling. And a lot of times this was going to mean you're going to roll out a new policy and coaching program for your drivers. And this also gives you a chance to celebrate the drivers who are going above and beyond to drive more efficiently as well. And that we've seen that being able to provide that positive encouragement can help really move the needle on improving driver behavior as well. So we're really excited about a lot of these updates. Those are really the key updates from us on the driver and vehicle efficiency front. We definitely recommend you check out these new reports and act on this data and actually start to implement some of these new programs for your business. And I think we'll keep talking now on the theme of driver efficiency and the ways in which we're helping drivers work more efficiently. And to do that, I'm going to pass it off to my colleague Sherry, and she's going to share some updates about our driver app. Thank you, everyone.
Awesome. Thanks, Hugh. Hello, everyone. My name is Sherry, and I lead product marketing for our driver app. If you've chosen Samsara as your ELD provider, your drivers are likely already using our driver app. And if they aren't, well, the driver app is a great all-in-one tool that gives your drivers all the information they need to efficiently complete their daily jobs. It's free to download on iOS and Android, and it works on any smartphone or tablet. We release new versions of our driver app every few weeks. These updates are inspired directly by feedback from you and your drivers, and they often contain tons of behind-the-scenes improvements to make the app experience snappier, more reliable, and easier to use. Our latest round of updates is designed to help you improve communication with your drivers, help them quickly access the information they need, and streamline their daily workflows. Our knowledge base has more information about how drivers can see which version they're on, as well as information about the features contained in this latest release. Before we walk through updates within the app itself, I wanted to call out our redesigned settings section, where you can customize how your drivers experience their app. You'll see a call out for driver app under the fleet section of your settings section. In some cases, we'll automatically upgrade your driver's app experience. In others, you can customize things like the notifications that they receive, the way they access routes, and more. For today, the most important settings are just the general messaging settings. You can toggle how your drivers receive notifications for incoming messages, and routes. You can set the ability to manually indicate whether drivers have arrived or departed. Everything else we'll cover today is an automatic upgrade within the app. So let's see how this looks for a day in the life of your drivers. First, for those of you who are subject to the ELD mandate, you know that drivers are required to keep ELD manuals and roadside inspection instructions in their cab. To help you go paperless, we're taking all of those in-cab materials out of your driver's glove compartments and putting them right in the app. With everything on a mobile device, you can help your drivers be more efficient and make sure they never lose their required documents. And for those of you who aren't quite ready to go completely paperless, don't worry. These materials are going to be accessible in the app, and you still have the option to print these kits at home if you want. After drivers sign into the app, they no longer need to select a vehicle before accessing their routes, messages, hours of service, and more. This means they can sign into their app to check their messages and routes before their shift. They can go on duty before a vehicle is assigned to them. They can access their logs even if they aren't operating a vehicle yet. Since drivers can look at their day, preview routes, and receive messages, they can feel more prepared for their day ahead. One of our customers, Dot Foods, for example, uses messages to communicate workflow changes like updates to routes or loads ahead of their drivers' days. And they also broadcast updates on any COVID-19 related matters, including safety and sanitization guidelines. Speaking of messages, our most recent update helps you make sure that your drivers are getting the right message at the right time. You can now send URLs to drivers. It makes it much easier for them to access quick links to videos, maps, and whatever information you want to share. We've also added an option for you to adjust notifications so that drivers get an audio alert whenever dispatch sends a message. So again, this is where you're going to want to visit your settings page and toggle this on. That way you can make sure that your drivers never miss an update. So let's say your drivers have received all their messages, they know which routes they're going to be taking, they are now on their way, they've started their day, and they're about to arrive at a stop. With Samsara, our live to the second GPS tracks the progress of each route so we can precisely detect when drivers have arrived at a stop. You also have the option to adjust your settings so that drivers can use the app to manually indicate when they've arrived. Once drivers have arrived at a stop, we want to make it easy for them to access all the information that they need to complete tasks at that stop. So when drivers enter the geofence of a route stop, the app will automatically display a notification that you see here on your right-hand side of your screen, and that notification gives them access to all the details about that route stop. They can just click in really easily and view the associated details. One of the most recent updates for this quarter is that we've introduced guided workflows to help drivers reduce errors and save time when they're completing a document. So if your driver has arrived at a route stop and you want them to submit that document, we've basically made it much easier for them to complete and submit that form. The driver app shows which fields are required at a glance, displays each field that needs to be completed, and automatically advances drivers to the next field. It's a much more streamlined experience that helps drivers save time and complete their forms more accurately. If your drivers do fat finger a field or submit a document twice, you can now resolve those errors on your end. Once documents are submitted, they're uploaded automatically to your Samsara dashboard. And when you go into your Documents tab, you can edit documents to fix typos, archive documents that you've already resolved, delete any duplicates that have been submitted, and once you're finished, you can export a PDF copy to your payroll department, to customers, and more. One of our customers, a construction service company called the DDS Companies up in upstate New York, has been able to save 3 to 4 hours of administrative work each week because they've been able to resolve discrepancies and typos from submitted timesheets. There's no more back and forth between dispatchers and drivers. They just automatically edit these documents within the Samsara dashboard. And because Samsara keeps an audit trail of all of these changes, you can be confident that these submitted documents are an accurate system of record for your organization. At the end of the day, when you're evaluating how your drivers performed, whether or not they completed their stops on time and submitted all of their required documents, you can use the routes page to see exactly how each route went. We've recently redesigned this interface to make it more map-centric, so you can see how actual route paths, stop orders, ETAs, and departure times compare against plan. We've also added a route playback tool so that you can see the exact paths that drivers take, so you can easily visualize the sequence of events, which can help you inform any adjustments to planning assumptions or decisions that you want to make to coach drivers. That wraps up our quick tour of a day in the life for your drivers. With these features, it's our ultimate goal to help you improve communication with your drivers, save them time, and streamline their overall daily experience. So, we just covered a ton of features that help you keep your drivers safe and productive. It was a lot to take in, so I'm going to pass it off to Priscilla, who will round things out and give you an overview of the other features you might want to know from this quarter.
Thank you, Sherry. So we've heard a lot from Keitna, Hugh, and Sherry so far with highlights on the bigger features on our areas of safety, driver efficiency, and the driver app. And we're really just scratching the surface of the new features that have been released in the past couple months. There's a lot more that's come out in those areas and beyond. So I've put together a little summary here of features that you can explore on your own. When you get the recording and the PDF of these slides afterward, you'll be able to click through on these links if you're interested. And again, if you want to read about every new release that comes out, you should go to the What's New section in your Samsara dashboard. Okay, I've got a little bonus here for you guys next. I'm going to do a rapid fire call out of new integrations before we move into our live Q&A. So if you haven't had the chance to type in your question yet, please find that Q&A box on your screen and submit your question. We've launched some key integrations with OEMs to help you collect rich vehicle and equipment data, and also a number of integrations that better connect systems across your business with Samsara. First, I'm super excited to talk about our partnership with Ford, one of the most popular vehicle brands on our platform. With all new vehicles in 2020 and other eligible models, you'll be able to bring Ford vehicle data into Samsara automatically with no additional hardware. How cool is that? That actually gives you rich manufacturer-grade data, including GPS location and diagnostics, such as seatbelt status, for example, and you can use that to manage your fleet more efficiently. And one of the benefits is also that if you're needing that Ford data in other systems that you're using, you can use Samsara's open API to pull that and make it available across your business. Similarly, last week we announced a new partnership with Navistar, who makes international trucks. With this partnership comes two integrations, actually. One, very similar to Ford, we're pulling data from Navistar's international trucks and bring that data into Samsara. I just want to note that Samsara is actually the first telematics partner to work with Navistar to offer this, and we're both really excited about what that means for our customers. And the second integration allows Samsara's fault code data, the diagnostics that you see in your dashboard, to be pulled into Navistar's on-command connection platform, and that will help you streamline your maintenance workflows. So if you have newer Ford or international vehicles and are interested in testing out these integrations, go ahead and type in the Q&A box what you're interested in, and we'll make sure to send out additional information to you afterwards. This is an area that we're investing in very heavily. We've got other integrations with manufacturers in the works, such as John Deere and Caterpillar. And our friend Greg from Mach Energy Services has been testing some of those out with us. And he's been able to see great success in getting everything to show up in his Samsara dashboard. And it's been helpful to manage his mixed fleet. All right, I have a couple more integrations I want to call out. First, our partnership with Thermo King makes it easy to have two-way reefer control right from the Samsara dashboard. This means that for anyone who's running refrigerated units, your managers can turn on reefer units and set temperatures from just about anywhere that has an internet connection. And you can also check on your loads and monitor that data live. And these next two integrations are most relevant for our trucking and logistics customers. Earlier this year, we launched a full workflow integration with McLeod. With this, it means that you can run your entire dispatch workflow seamlessly between Samsara and McLeod. You can plan and assign loads just as you are doing already in McLeod Loadmaster. That pulls over, and then you can assign those to drivers, and drivers will automatically see them in the driver app at the start of their shift. You can also pull hours of service and trailer location information from Samsara into McLeod, so it's really just increasing the visibility across both of these systems. And last but not least, we have a new fuel card integration with FleetCore that allows you to bring fuelmen and Comdata fuel card purchases into Samsara automatically. This helps you manage all of your fuel spend in one place. And you can also correlate GPS data with fuel purchases to reduce fuel fraud. And basically having all of this information in your Samsara dashboard will be a really great addition to your fuel efficiency reporting. Okay, so we've gone through a lot of information, and I know that you guys have been submitting a bunch of questions. Again, a big thank you to our support and customer success teams that have been answering those live on chat. But I think we could maybe use a little mental break before we dive into our live Q&A. So let's do another poll. I'm curious what you guys think. And the question is, where do you see the most opportunity for technology to help reduce costs for your operation? Okay, so just launch the poll. You should see that pop up on your screen. Take a look, pick the option that most resonates with you, and I will give you a little bit of time to make your selection. All right, thank you guys for sharing. We'll be taking a look at what you guys said and using your responses to help develop future trainings. All right, it's time for some Q&A. So I'm going to ask Katina and Hugh and Sherry to kind of come back here with us. I'm going to attempt to cover kind of like broad themes. I've been reading some of the questions that you guys have. So hopefully we cover most of the things that you guys are curious about. So the first question is for Kaitna. If I change my score configuration, so this is referring to the ability to customize the safety score, will that affect previous scores or only the board?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when you change your configurations, it will affect your driver and fleet scores historically as well as going forward. So because it's going to affect, any changes will affect your scores in the past, we recommend that you document your configurations before changing so that you can always switch back. So for instance, if your safety focus, say that you have a speeding awareness month, you can adjust your configurations at any time to give more penalty to speeding, but it will show all past and present scores based on your updated settings for speeding. So we do recommend you documenting what your changes were and what your initial configurations were before doing so.
Great. Hopefully that helps kind of answer the question. I know there's a lot kind of going into, hey, if you want to move into a customized score, what kind of are the procedures? What do you want to kind of think about when you do that? Similarly, I think there are a lot of questions about the customizable driver efficiency score that Hugh also talked about. And there's kind of some questions related to the default metric weight or score mapping or a recommendation related to that. Hugh, do you have anything that you want to share with the group here?
Yeah, absolutely. So we provided a default weight and score mapping just based on customer research and market research. But really, we know that, as I mentioned, it's customizable, and we encourage our customers to be able to update these settings just with whatever makes the most sense for your organization. So you can go in and customize and configure the weight and the score mapping, and it actually won't affect any of the historical data. And also, if you like, you have the option just to reset all of these default weights and scores back to the default. So absolutely, it's customizable, but we do offer, sort of based on customer research, a recommended default for your organization.
Yeah, and I think it related to that, this idea of idling and the reporting that we can surface now with the new fuel and energy report. There are a lot of questions about PTO and what is considered idling and kind of setup with monitoring PTO. I know there's a lot of complexity some of the time with the different equipment, but maybe you can kind of talk to that. Does idle time include PTO idling? How do you know what is like productive versus unproductive idling? I think that's kind of the general theme of the questions here.
Yeah, for sure. I think those are good questions as to how PTO works. So I'll start by saying that basically with PTO, how you can establish it and how you can actually monitor this better in the dashboard is by using our auxiliary ports on the gateway to plug in any specific pieces of equipment that you want to actually track power takeoff on. If you have emergency lights or alarms or sweepers or whatever it might be, start by plugging those into the auxiliary port, and then in the dashboard, you can actually implement this by selecting the power takeoff option as an auxiliary input type. So that will just basically get PTO set up in your dashboard so you can start to monitor it. And in terms of how it works in the driver efficiency report, basically idling we consider to be the time when the engine is running at 0 miles an hour, and that does not include PTO. So it's basically a percentage value against the total engine runtime, excluding PTO. So hopefully that gives you a bit more insight into how it works.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because we're actually going to have a fuel efficiency training coming up in August. I'll have the date up on the screen in a little bit, but if you're interested in particular in learning more about idling, the fuel energy reports, what that means for you, the different things that other fleets are doing, and the achievements that they've been able to see in reducing fuel usage, make sure that you keep your eye out for more information about that and come to the training there. Okay, so Sherry, on the driver app side, I think there are a lot of questions. First theme that I'm kind of seeing is questions about older devices. Do drivers have to manually download the latest version of the app? It's kind of app management. Do you have anything to share with the group here?
Yeah, for sure. So as far as support for older devices, if you go to our knowledge base, we have a full list of just compatible devices. I think the specific question was whether or not we support anything back to Android 8.1, and the answer for that particular one is yes. We know that our fleets have a variety of devices, so we try to support a ton of makes and models, and we know that not everybody has the latest and greatest, so we, again, support a ton of makes and models. Your best source of truth for that is the knowledge base. And when it comes to getting the latest version of the driver app on your driver's mobile devices, we generally upgrade these apps automatically, so these updates happen once they sign in. However, if you want to make absolutely sure that they have the latest and greatest version, you can always direct your drivers to go to the App Store to download those versions. And if you're using mobile device management, you should visit our knowledge base because we'll post links to APKs on our knowledge base.
Great. And I think here's also another question that's pretty common in regards to the driver app using data, the bandwidth that's required for using the driver app on people's devices. Do people have to have their own data plan, or is there another way to make sure that there's connectivity there?
So if you've got a Samsara VG license, that comes included with 500 megabytes of just general Wi-Fi hotspot data, and it also includes all of the necessary data to power the driver app. So anything that your drivers need to use to access their logs, messages, routes, documents, all of that should be included with your VG license. So no separate data plan needed.
Great. I'm seeing kind of a theme around some of our integrations. I'll go ahead and answer one of these. Like I was saying before, the integration with McLeod actually pulls data back and forth between Samsara and McLeod. So if you think about your entire workflow, you are kind of creating those loads and assignments, right, in LoadMaster, and then that pulls into Samsara. Samsara has all the information about when the vehicles are arriving, all of the different route stops and stuff like that, and that actually pulls back into McLeod. So you're able to see the full kind of trip and delivery information in McLeod. So you're getting kind of the best of both worlds, available to see your drivers, if they're using the driver app to complete forms with the documents that Sherry talked about, that also gets pulled back into LoadMaster. And I know that McLeod also has some interesting capabilities where you can share information to customers. So you can actually pull documents from the driver app via Samsara and share that directly with customers via LoadMaster. Some other questions in this area, Hugh, I think you might be able to talk about this as it relates to fuel and stuff like that. There's a question about, do we need to use Samsara as our ELD to link fuel cards? Can you share more information just generally about how the integration works with FleetCore?
Yeah, for sure. So you don't need to use Samsara as an ELD to link fuel cards. You can work with your team at Samsara and with FleetCore to set up this integration. And basically, at a high level, how it works is that if you use any of the FleetCore issued fuel cards, so things like Comdata or Fuelman or Universal Premium is another one, how it works is that you can basically, instead of having to upload a CSV from your fuel purchase data, which is, from what we've heard, it can be really time consuming and just not really an efficient workflow, you can then now integrate both systems and automatically bring all that fuel purchase data into Samsara. So this is, a key value of this is that you can actually fight fuel fraud and help reduce that across your fleet. That's super common and something that you can now actually correlate our GPS data with fuel purchase receipts. So you can see if a driver was in a certain location when they made a fuel purchase. And this also actually helps beyond that, just streamline your IFTA compliance as well, because we have reporting in the dashboard for that, for IFTA compliance. And so now you're actually able to bring in this fuel card data automatically.
Yeah. I'm seeing some questions here, and I'll go ahead and just answer. There are a lot of questions about WEX and other kinds of fuel integrations. I know I said that at the beginning that we're not This is a roadmap-free zone, but I do see a lot of this question coming up. So I will say that we are working on this integration with WEX. So sit tight. We'll have more information to share hopefully soon, but just do know that we are working on that. All right, so we have a couple minutes before our time is up, and I know that you hear us talk about getting feedback a lot, and our training webinars are no exception. We would really love your feedback on this webinar. So anyone on the line with a smart device, I'm going to put a QR code up on the screen here. Take a moment, grab your smart device, and you can open up that camera app and hold it up. A link will pop up on your screen, and I'll just go ahead and leave this slide up for you all. Go ahead and fill out our survey. You can also access that at the URL. Promise it'll be really quick. While you're doing that, I have a couple announcements. First, if you submitted a question via chat and haven't received a response yet, please don't worry. I know we got kind of a lot of questions come in at the very end here. We have logged all of those, and we'll follow up with you regarding your question after the webinar. Again, big thank you to our support and customer success teams for answering questions during the webinar. I also want to remind you that we'll be sending out an email later today with a few resources. You'll get a recording of today's training and a PDF handout of the slides that you saw today. So all of those links, all of those references, all of those visuals, you'll get that in that follow-up email. And now, I know I alluded to this before, but we do have a couple webinars coming up. So you can go ahead and mark your calendars. We'll be doing that fuel efficiency training webinar on August 26th. And then our next Samsara Quarterly will be in October, on October 22nd. We'll definitely be sending out emails with registration links as the date gets closer. So make sure you keep your eye out for that. And that's it from us. I know it was a lot of information. Hopefully the additional resources and the recording will be helpful for you and for your team as you guys just kind of dig through some of the new functionality that have come out in the past couple months. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you have a good rest of your day and hope to see you again soon.